Tonight on CTV News at 6. Bridging provincial borders.
You know, there's a historic relationship between our communities, and so, you know, what better time than now to see how we can push that a little bit further.
Timmins looks to build an economic partnership with a mining town in Quebec. Plus, one-man sanctuary is a city's code violation.
Where you're taking this really small space and trying to compare it to a 2.5-story house with an attic and a basement.
Why a West Nipissing man is facing eviction from a shed on his own land. And a wintry celebration.
Look at the great community spirit, and we're outside in Northern Ontario in the wintertime.
The Greater Sudbury community of Walden kicks off its annual carnival.
CTV News at 6 with Tony Rima and Rick Wyman with weather.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Friday. Tony is off. 2 people have died in a crash near Thunder Bay. It happened just before 9 last night on Highway 1117 between Highway 130 and Highway 588. Police say 2 passenger vehicles were involved. 2 women, 23 and 28 years old, were pronounced dead at the scene. 2 other people were taken to hospital with minor injuries. Anyone with information is asked to contact police or Crime Stoppers. A traffic stop in Mattawa led to several charges being laid for defects to a commercial vehicle. Tuesday, OPP pulled over a vehicle for speeding. The officer noticed loose and missing wheel fasteners, which is a major defect and could lead to the wheel coming off. The OPP say the MTO found several other mechanical and safety issues, including not having a speed limiting system. The 55-year-old driver has been issued several offenses, and the Earlton-based company responsible for the vehicle is also facing charges. Timmins and Rouyn-Noranda have made a commitment to forge closer economic ties between the 2 municipalities. Mayors from both provinces have already met in person, and soon economic development officers will define a framework. CTV's Lydia Chubak reports.
With some leaders around the world vying for greater control, the mayors of Timmins and Rouyn-Noranda are planning to work together in ways that would benefit both.
You know, why not just look the other side of the border? They're only 2.5 hours away from us, and so we know that a lot of our residents are going, you know, into the neighboring municipality for different things like shopping, to visit with family and friends. You know, there's a historic relationship between our communities, and so, you know, what better time than now to see how we can push that a little bit further.
Rouyn-Noranda's Mayor Gilles Chapiteau recently visited Timmins to attend the Mayor's State of the City luncheon and meet with business leaders.
I think we have a lot in common in terms of culture, and when we think about that, Marc Carney is saying to try to have an exchange with other country, and it's difficult to have exchange between 2 provinces, and I think we have to find a way.
The mayor says several businesses in both cities already have established relationships, and they say collaborations could also be developed in areas of education and social issues. Below plans to meet with Chapiteau next week in Quebec.
And then from that point, our economic development teams will start to develop a framework and some actionable items for us to start working on.
I like to work with her. Really dynamic.
Both mayors suggest the municipalities share similar strengths, particularly in the mining sector, and see this commitment as an opportunity to contribute to Canada's critical minerals strategy. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, Timmins.
The Northern Ontario Farm Innovation Alliance, known as NOFIA, is hosting an agricultural conference in Sudbury. Over 150 farmers and business representatives are taking part and say there are growing agricultural opportunities in our region. CTV's Elena Everson reports.
It's a 2-day conference to share ideas and information about innovations in agriculture in Northern Ontario.
It's a growing industry for sure. Like we're developing more and more land every year, and we're growing better and better crops. And a lot of that has to do with tile drainage, of course.
Norman Cook farms 12,000 acres in the Timiskaming region, growing several different cash crops.
It's a great opportunity for land being developed, more land, more agriculture. As Southern Ontario land gets used for other purposes than agriculture, construction, roads, housing, that's needed.
A local MPP says as a result of tile drainage, we are seeing an increase in agriculture production in Northern Ontario.
What was never available to happen in the north, growing soybeans, canola, black beans, that's all going to be available to us. And as we develop that further, it's great news for the farmer.
And it takes away, the water and prevents flooding if we get these big downpours like we've been experiencing in the last couple of years.
Another topic at the conference is AI, helping farmers understand the emerging technology and its possible uses in agriculture. Alana Everson, CTV News, Sudbury.
A West Nipissing man is fighting to stay in his tiny shed he built on his property. But as CTV's Eric Tashner reports, the building is not to code, forcing the municipality to act.
The new water line came in.
John Ridge feels the most safe and secure in this 15 by 15 foot shed he built on his property because he suffers from seizures.
It's actually more dangerous to have a bigger house.
He bought the land in 2022 after a house on it burned down. It has heat, water, and electricity. But problems with the municipality arose in the fall after officials discovered the unit doesn't meet several building code standards, which he has issues with.
Part of the problem is you're taking apples and oranges, where you're taking this really small space and trying to compare it to a 2.5-story house with an attic and a basement, and that just really isn't comparable.
Ridge says he's been told there's not enough insulation, it needs 4-foot footing foundation, and the drainage pipe vent is not long enough. Ridge did connect the drainage pipe from the remnants of the burned down home to the shed.
But my vent is only about 32 inches and it has to be 42 inches. So I'm going to add that.
Another issue is that the building has a permit for a shed and not a tiny home. The municipality is threatening eviction by padlocking the door if he can't get it to meet the building code.
We're bound by provincial legislation, national legislation when it comes to Building Code Act, and that is in place for the protection of the actual resident, the liability of the municipality.
In response, a neighbor parked an RV in his driveway for him to live in. But a bylaw in place doesn't allow for that either.
In his meeting with me yesterday, reassured me that he's going to be vacating the property and trying to make other arrangements.
The municipality says it has no intention to oust people during the cold months, but stresses people need to understand building codes and permits.
Right from the hop, if they are honest with the municipality, we will do our level best to assist them as best as we can with providing a roadmap on all of the rules.
A meeting has been scheduled between both parties on Monday to try and come to a resolution. In the end, Ridge just wants to live in the unit he's been living in for 3.5 years in peace.
I'm prepared pretty much to stay here.
But that's all contingent on what he can do to fix it up to meet the standards. Eric Tashner, CTV News, West Nipissing.
It's time now for our first check on weather, and of course it's Friday, so we're wondering how the weekend is looking. Let's bring in CTV's Rick Wyman. Rick, the good news is we're going to see some sun. The downside, it will be cold. So my question is, how many layers should we wear to enjoy those rays?
I would think you should dress up not only for tonight, but for tomorrow. It'll be sunny and cold, but warming up by about Sunday. Walden Winter Carnival, dress up this weekend. It'll be cold. Our systems map, snow moving out, periods of snow and the squalls and what have you, but there are still squalls set for the Parry Sound area as issued by Environment Canada. But cold temperatures, wind chill for this evening and overnight. Some of those startling numbers, Amanda, we've mentioned them earlier this week. It'll be cold tomorrow morning when you wake up. So let's say you wake up at 7. Don't go outside. Stay in bed. You'll be a lot warmer tomorrow morning. Back to you.
I definitely won't be waking up at 7, but thanks for that, Rick. More like 10. Still to come on CTV News at 6. Is your age being held against you? Public Health Sudbury and Districts is looking for your input on a new study into ageism. But first, here's a look at the water tower in downtown Sudbury, all lit up. More news is ahead.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. From your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Public Health Sudbury and Districts is looking to learn more about ageism experiences in the area. A new survey can be found on their website, and officials say people living in the area who are 18 years old and older are welcome to participate. Ageism is described as someone being treated unfairly because of their age.
Ageism is one of these factors that have a huge impact on individuals' health. It can impact you at any age. We have lots of national stats on ageism and how many people or what percentage of the population experiences ageism, but we don't have those local stats or data to show if ageism is a prevalent problem here in Sudbury and across our service area.
The survey will be available on Public Health's website until April 30th and will take respondents 5 to 10 minutes to complete. GOVA Transit in Sudbury will officially launch its GOVA Pass mobile app in March. As part of ongoing efforts to modernize transit, new fare boxes were installed at the beginning of 2025. The GOVA Pass app lets riders securely purchase and store bus passes on their smartphone, with added features of real-time bus schedules and arrivals all in one place.
Going to be a one-stop shop in terms of ease of access and using transit, and we're hoping that we see an uptick in terms of those that choose to use transit, because if the barrier today to using transit is having to go in and buy a card, or I don't have small denomination of money, I can have that on my phone and choose to use transit at my leisure, and it's simple and efficient. So again, at the end of the day, we're really excited about that accessibility.
If you pay with cash, not to worry, that will still be an option on transit. And later this spring, GOVA Transit will introduce the reloadable GOVA Pass Smart Card for those that prefer a physical card. Junction Creek Stewardship Committee is sharing snowmobilers to look out for Phragmites, an aggressive non-native species of perennial grass that stands up to 5 meters tall. Snowmobiles can pick up the invasive plant and spread it as they drive, which can cause the plant to grow, overtaking habitats for plants, wildlife, and fish. However, there are 2 variations of the plant in Sudbury, and only one is considered invasive.
The invasive version is thicker, it's got a big seed head, and it grows a lot quicker, it spreads a lot quicker. And that's why it's considered such an issue, is because it actually spreads through rhizomes, which are the roots, as well as through seed heads. The big seed head there will have about 3 million seeds a year. Not all of them are viable, but as you can imagine, they spread rather quickly.
Junction Creek Stewardship Committee is asking riders to dust off their snowmobile if they drive through the plant, use designated trails, and report sightings. The opening today officially kicks off the 2026 Milano Cortina Olympic Winter Games. Throughout the broadcast tonight, we're going to celebrate by highlighting some of the athletes and events happening. We start our Olympic coverage tonight in Italy in 1956. As CTV's Corey Nordstrom tells us, hockey then was important as hockey is now.
It's been 70 years since Bernie Toomey became an Olympian.
Where are you? Right there.
Playing not for his home country, but for Italy, his father's homeland.
It was something, really something, yeah. We played against Russia, Canada. Oh, yeah, we played all of them. Russia, Switzerland, Austria, Germany. Played against all of them, yeah.
Donning the Azzurri blue in 1956 alongside Toomey were Carmen Tucci and Aldo Miniaco, all three from Sault Ste. Marie. Miniaco's in-law Bill O'Donnell took a special interest in the unique story and has been compiling information on it since 2021 for a documentary.
I started doing research around those three fellas, only to find that there was a fourth fellow from Northern Ontario, Ron Ferlani from Sudbury, who also played on that team, and two men from Niagara Falls, Carlo Montemurro and Reno Alberton.
O'Donnell's curiosity unearthed stories that even the relatives of the Olympians didn't know.
I have two grandsons who probably will play hockey, and I think now they will have all this history. You know, when they're growing up, they'll know all this and, you know, much more than what we, and hopefully talk about it much more than we ever did.
They're all humble. My uncle was very, very humble too. He never talked about it. It was my father that taught me and talked about him all the time. They would switch around their hockey equipment, the numbers on the gloves, for example, with other players, so the Russians or whoever they're playing would think, oh, that's number 3, watch out, he's got a really good shot or something, but they would switch them almost every game just to fool the competition.
70 years ago, what am I going to think about? What did I do over there? I remember getting penalties.
The games being back in Cortina this year is special for the families who say they're proud of the two countries they see themselves in, even if they sometimes pick favorites.
Oh, I will. I'll root for Italy as long as they're not playing in Canada. If they're playing Canada, I go for Canada. Oh, no.
It's a phenomenon in Canada. I mean, we are Canadians. I think we like to represent what nation we originally come from, but we are all Canadians. Right? I mean, when you ask people where you come from, they'll say, oh, I come from Italy, or I come from Poland, or I come from, but we're all Canadians.
O'Donnell was successful in getting the 3 Sioux Olympians into the local Hockey Hall of Fame last year. He refers to them as trailblazers, being the first Canadians to play on Italy's Olympic hockey team while leading them to their best ever finish. And with just 2 of the 6 men still alive, the families want their story to be heard by as many as possible. Corey Nordstrom, CTV News, Sault Ste. Marie.
And as mentioned, the opening ceremonies for the Milano Cortina Olympic Winter Games were today. Among the athletes competing are 5 from Northern Ontario. In men's curling, Brad Jacobs led Team Canada as the skip. Jacobs is from Sault Ste. Marie and is hunting for his 2nd Olympic gold medal. Jacobs and Team Canada won gold in 2014 at the Sochi Winter Games. On the ladies' side is Tracy Fleury. She got a huge send-off last week from fans in her hometown of Sudbury before she headed to her first Olympic Winter Games. This might be her first Olympics, but she's a highly decorated curler, including 11 Grand Slam championships. Fleury will play 3rd for skip Rachel Homan. Shiloh Rousseau made the Canadian biathlete team just weeks ago after the IBU World Cup in Germany, where she placed 21st in the pursuit and 26th in the sprint, her highest World Cup rankings since her debut in 2024. This will also be Rousseau's Olympic debut. From Parry Sound, the high-flying Megan Oldham will compete in freestyle skiing. Oldham competed in the Beijing Winter Olympics in 2022, finishing just off the podium in 4th in the big air competition. Oldham finished 5th in big air and took home a bronze medal in slopestyle at World Competition last year. She will certainly be one to watch. And lastly, from Thunder Bay, cross-country skier Max Holman is also set to make his debut. He won the 2026 10K Olympic qualifier to cement his spot on Team Canada recently. Holman had major success on the world stage in 4x5K mixed relay in 2023, where he and Team Canada won gold at the World Juniors. Good luck to all of our local athletes. And back now for a check on the current conditions with Rick.
With some colder weather to start off the weekend for this evening, heading into tomorrow. But then again, we'll have some sunshine for tomorrow.
Okay.
Forecast radar from Environment Canada. Relatively clear for tomorrow. Then we've got some flurry activity coming in by Monday. Low pressure system approaching, but it will warm up, and that's consolation for what we're going to get this weekend with colder temperatures. Right now, -20 in Moosonee, -22 in Cochrane, -21 some flurry activity in Timmins, -21 in Cap. Also some snow flurries going on there. Chapleau -20, Wawa -17 with the snow, -14 in Sault Ste. Marie as well. Then there's Perry Sound, some flurries and also some squalls in the forecast for this evening. North Bay -13, -16 in Temiskaming Shores, -20 in Kirkland Lake. Sudbury Nickel Belt, few clouds, -14 this hour, but colder with the wind chill, -13 in Espanola, -14 in Elliott Lake, and -9 in Gore Bay. Amanda, your 7-day forecast, and of course the pick of the day, all coming up in just a couple of minutes.
Thanks for that, Rick. Next on CTV News at 6. Canada opens a new consulate in Greenland. Plus, continued fallout from an investigation in the GTA that led to police officers being arrested. Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister, Anita Anand, is in Greenland as Canada opens a new consulate in the capital.
So we are continually ensuring that on numerous fronts, from a defense and security standpoint, from a people-to-people ties standpoint, from a cooperation and collaboration on economic matters standpoint, that we are standing with the people of Denmark and the people of Greenland in the short and the long term.
The launch of a new Canadian diplomatic mission in Greenland is sparking hope for more collaboration on climate change, Inuit rights, and defense in the face of U.S. President Donald Trump's annexation threats. Trump has demanded U.S. control of Greenland and only recently backed down from threats to use force to acquire the Danish territory. There is continuing fallout from a wide-ranging criminal probe in York Region, which saw 7 active Toronto police officers arrested. CTV's Sean Musselman has the latest.
56-year-old Constable Tim Barnhart is one of 7 current Toronto police officers accused in a massive police corruption case. As we learned yesterday, it involves allegations including bribery, shootings, and even attempted murder. In this police video, 3 suspects were arrested after allegedly trying to kill a corrections manager outside his York Region home last June. His personal information was allegedly leaked by Barnhart to organized crime members. Toronto Police Chief Myron Demkew tells Newstalk 1010 today his emotions range from pain and disappointment to anger.
Been aware of this investigation, as you know, for quite some time, and there's been a roller coaster of emotions that you go through as a professional police officer with these types of allegations.
This criminal defense lawyer says the allegations and the range of police officers charged is significant.
You look at the ranks of those officers, the age of those officers, and their tenure of service. I mean, this scandal, these corruption allegations go all the way essentially to the tops of the echelons here. We've got sergeants, veterans of the police force. We've got retired officers. And then we've got officers at the bottom who are in their early 20s, who likely have been officers for just a couple of years and are just low-level constables.
Chief Demkew and the Toronto Police Services Board has asked the Inspector General of Policing in Ontario to launch an independent investigation. But that decision is being questioned. The current inspector, Ryan Teschner, is the former executive director and chief of staff of the Toronto Police Services Board. The mayor and the premier were both asked about it today.
I don't get involved in police matters. I don't direct the police. I fully support Chief Demkew and Chief McSween. I'm unwavering in supporting our police officers.
The residents of Toronto deserve to know that the police officer that they deal with every day can be trusted.
In a statement released yesterday, a spokesperson for the Inspector General wrote about a potential investigation which still hasn't been confirmed yet. Quote, he recognizes the seriousness of these matters and the public trust concerns they raise. The Inspector General is actively considering this request, and once he makes his decision, he will release it publicly. We also learned today that 3 Peel officers have been suspended in connection with the ongoing investigation. John Musselman, CTV News.
There's more news ahead, but first, here's your full weather forecast with Rick.
I'm so happy to say it's time for the weekend, but we're off to a cold start. Some temperatures for this evening and into tomorrow. We've got some sunny skies for tomorrow, but colder. Wind chills and what have you. We'll get into that momentarily. Relatively clear. We've got some precipitation moving in on Super Bowl Sunday by about supper time. Let's take a look at some of the conditions overnight. Take a look at the wind chills in Greater Sudbury, Sault Ste. Marie, Timmins, Timiskaming Shores, and North Bay. Yes, it will be cold. Moving on over to Moosonie, Kapuskasing, Hearst, Wawa, Gore Bay, Perry Sound, 2 to 4 centimeters, of course, and the wind chill, some squalls in the area overnight. Sudbury Nickel Belt, your start, minus 33 tomorrow morning. Sunday, we've got minus 13. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, chance of flurries all 3 days, warming up to minus 5 by next Wednesday, minus 6 by next Thursday with the cloud cover. In Sault Ste. Marie, Algoma, mainly sunny, minus 30 wind chill. Sun and cloud Sunday, minus 9, minus 5, minus 3, and minus 4 Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Minus 5, well, sun and cloud by next Thursday. So you will see a warming trend with a low pressure system moving into the northeast. Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing, chance of flurries, wind chill tomorrow morning, minus 36. Sunny skies on Sunday, chance of flurries Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, but your temperatures minus 9 at the top, and of course, pretty consistent, minus 7, minus 8, and minus 9. Timiskaming Shores and Kirkland Lake, chance of flurries, wind chill minus 33 tomorrow morning, sunny skies minus 15. Minus 10 Monday, minus 7 Tuesday, minus 6 on Wednesday with the periods of snow, and minus 7 on Thursday with the chance of flurries. Normally, you should be sitting at about minus 8. And in North Bay, West Nipissing, mainly cloudy tomorrow. We've got minus 33 with the wind chill to kick off your Saturday morning. So you may want to stay in bed tomorrow morning. You know, you don't want to face that minus 33 wind chill. Sunday, minus 13. Warming up, minus 9 on Monday, chance of flurries. Minus 5 Tuesday, chance of flurries. Periods of snow Wednesday, minus 4. And the chance of flurries, minus 5 on Thursday. Normally, you should be sitting at around minus 6. So again, the trend is what we've got going on right across the entire Northeast. We'll start off with some colder temperatures tonight, continuing in tomorrow. Lots of sunshine. Then by about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it'll start to perk up and get a little bit warmer, which will make this winter a little bit more enjoyable for everyone to enjoy. Let's take a look at our pick of the day right now. Great shot here taken by Nirmala. This is the snow moon in New Liskeard, taken just a couple of days ago. So Nirmala, I appreciate that picture. Always great to hear from the good people of New Liskeard. So again, we'll see whose pick gets chosen for Monday's pick of the day. Stick around. I'll have hockey this week. We'll be talking about a big game in Sudbury coming up between the Sudbury Wolves and the Windsor Spitfires. A couple of players that were traded by Sudbury to Windsor are back in Sudbury for this evening. That's coming up a little bit later on after the break.
Welcome back. Most of us don't think twice about using shampoo, deodorants, or lotions, as many of these products are part of our daily lives. But all these things contain chemicals, and some of them could have substances that may cause serious side effects. CTV's Pat Foran has details.
Shampoos, lotions, makeup, we lather, rub, and apply them every day without a second thought.
So the cosmetics industry uses thousands of chemicals in the products we put on our bodies every day.
The biggest concern is something called forever chemicals, which don't break down easily. Cosmetics Alliance Canada says there are safety concerns when they show up in health and beauty products.
Forever chemicals are ones that have a long life in the environment, which gives everyone some concern about what did they do in the long term.
While most items face strict labeling regulations, it doesn't mean all ingredients are thoroughly reviewed for safety before they hit store shelves.
Just by looking at labels, we know that concerning ingredients show up again and again in the products we find in stores.
Consumer Reports says to check ingredient labels for fragrance, which often means a product contains phthalates, and to buy products that are paraben-free and formaldehyde-free.
These chemicals can cause serious health issues, everything from reproductive harm to an increased risk of cancer.
And PFAS, also known as forever chemicals, can show up in waterproof long-wear makeup, and some have been linked to serious health concerns. And coal tar dyes used in some hair dyes and cosmetics can cause skin reactions and may raise cancer risk with occupational exposure. So what can you do? Keep it simple, read labels, choose products that say they're free of these ingredients, and avoid counterfeit cosmetics.
Because by their nature, they're not regulated at all. And they, from time to time, come up in the marketplace. And one thing we always remind consumers, if the deal looks too good to be true, it probably isn't a true product.
Health and beauty items can be expensive. Researchers suggest swapping out products, starting with the ones you use most, and replace them gradually, one at a time. Pat Foran, CTV News.
The 2026 Winter Games are now officially underway. For the first time, the opening ceremony was a multi-site event spread across northern Italy. CTV Scott Hurst has the details.
More than 200 Canadian athletes are stepping onto the world stage. Led by flag bearers, Quebec's Michael Kingsbury and BC's Marielle Thompson, both athletes, previous Olympic champions, as Canada's team eyes more podium appearances. The opening ceremony is a stunning display of culture and sport, with the host nation always mixing in its own flavor, and Italy sure has a rich history to show off as Milano Cortina welcomes the world. And for the first time in Olympic history, the ceremony takes place across multiple venues in separate cities in a widespread yet unified event, with San Siro Olympic Stadium in Milan serving as the central hub.
They'll emphasize Italy, naturally. Music, dance, arts, they have a lot to work with.
Even before the pomp and ceremony to officially kick off 17 days of sport and spectacle, Canadian athletes have already begun making their mark. Quebec's Francis Jobin soaring into the Big Air final. He'll have a shot at the podium on Saturday in his Olympic debut. The husband and wife mixed doubles curling team of Jocelyn Peterman and Brett Gallant are now 3-1, winning their first 3 matches before falling to the Americans. And Canadians sit 5th after day 1 of the Olympic figure skating team event. The competition kicks into high gear tomorrow with the first medals being awarded. And after the first match was postponed on Thursday, the Canadian women's hockey team will begin its pursuit of back-to-back Olympic gold medals. Scott Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
Residents from the Walden area gathered outside the TM Davies Community Centre last night to begin the long-standing Walden Winter Carnival. Community members kicked off the celebration, as they always do, with a bonfire before fireworks officially commenced the 4 days of fun in the Walden area. According to organizers, the weekend will have inflatables, axe throwing, and more, totaling over 100 activities, promising something for everyone.
Look at the great community spirit, and we're outside in Northern Ontario in the wintertime, and people are out having a wonderful time, and it's just the first day of the carnival. And then once the kids get doing the activities, you just see them light up like bright lights. It just creates a wonderful spirit, and we couldn't do it without the support of the whole community.
I love the enthusiasm there. Everhart is grateful to the volunteers and committee who plan and organize the event, along with the volunteer firefighters who kept everyone warm last night with the bonfire. Still ahead on CTV News at 6. We've got more about the 2026 Olympic Games coming up next.
Hockey This Week is brought to you by Rastall Nut and Bolt Company. I'm Rick Wyman for Hockey This Week. It's get-together weekend in the Ontario Hockey League for the Sudbury Wolves, as they play 3 games, including a pair against former teammates who were recently traded. In Sudbury later on this evening, the Wolves host the Windsor Spitfires and the return of Nathan Villeneuve and Alex Ferrand. Yes, we know a lot about these guys. You could expect a lot of family and friends to see Ferrand from Greater Sudbury, while Villeneuve has ties to the Ottawa area, and his family is expected to see the former captain in action against his former teammates. Now, just last night, the Spitfires dropped a 5-4 shootout in North Bay, where both Ferrand and Villeneuve had points with 1 assist apiece. And you know there will be a lot of emotion on the ice, as both will be acknowledged in a pregame ceremony by the Wolves. Villeneuve, by the way, came up short in a shootout opportunity. Now, the Wolves are 4-5-1 in their last 10 games and have played better hockey against the upper echelon of teams in the Eastern and Western Conference. Go figure. They play great hockey against the best, not so great hockey against teams that are mediocre or kind of middling in that conference. Sudbury is also trying to fend off 9th place Brampton, who are just 3 points back of a playoff spot. Tomorrow night, the Wolves venture to Peterborough to play Kieran Walton and the Petes in a game that's very important for both teams. Walton had 2 goals, including the winner in overtime, as the Petes beat Owen Sound last night and was also named the game's first star. Walton now has 32 goals on the season and is sorely missed offensively by the Wolves. The Petes, meanwhile, are just 5 up on surging North Bay, who sit 5th in the conference. Sunday, the Wolves play Oshawa in a rare matinee due to the Super Bowl. Games are normally scheduled for just after 6 in Oshawa, but it is Super Bowl Sunday, Seattle against New England, in the big game that begins, oddly enough, at 6:30. For Hockey This Week, I'm Rick Wyman. We're back in 7 days with more.
Last night, the North Bay Battalion hosted a nail-biter against the Windsor Spitfires as they tied it up late in the third. Overtime would solve nothing, but the shootout would. Troops win 5-4. The Spitfires will be looking for redemption tonight as they land in the Nickel City to take on the Sudbury Wolves. Game time is 7:05. The Sioux Greyhounds will host the Flint Firebirds at the GFL Memorial Gardens. Game time there is 7:07. And there are 4 games on tap in the NOJHL tonight. The Powassan Voodoos are on the road in Noelville to take on the French River Rapids, while the Hearst Lumberjacks will play host to the Timmins Rock. Both games are 7 o'clock starts. The Kirkland Lake Gold Miners will be digging for a win against the Sioux Eagles in Michigan, and the Sioux Thunderbirds are at Espanola to take on the Paper Kings. Puck drop for those games is 7:30. The 2026 Olympic Games will have 2 opening ceremonies and 2 cauldrons because athletes are spread throughout northern Italy, spending the next 17 days competing for gold. The distance makes these games not only unique, but historic in its setup. CTV's Heather Butts has more.
Meeting this crew from the Netherlands, already a highlight for Ontario's Marga Wilson during her Olympic experience.
Bucket list, definitely. To see all the different athletes from all the different countries is so exciting.
The Olympic motto, after all, is about celebrating the unifying power of sport.
I'm hoping Canada goes gold, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, you met some Czech hockey player at the airport yesterday, so you did wish him luck, but secretly he said not too much luck.
A unique aspect of these games is how spread out the events are. Organizers wanted to use existing infrastructure as much as possible, but this means no central hub.
It's missing a little bit of snow, to be honest. Canada would be better to host them, but it's nice to be in the city. I feel like in the mountains it'll feel like more of the Winter Olympics.
I was kind of hoping to see a little bit more like fan zones here, and I didn't quite see that, but maybe they're just spread out more through like Cortina and Lavingo, so we'll see.
Competitions are taking place all over northern Italy, making this the most widespread Olympic sports setup in history. The games will span over 22,000 square kilometers. A trip between Milan and Cortina could take upwards of 6 hours. It means not all of Team Canada's athletes will be in the same village or region throughout the games.
You know, giving a high five to an athlete in another sport, or even the gentle smile when you're under such pressure, can make a huge difference.
Olympic champion and Canada's chef de mission Jennifer Heil admits it will be a different experience, but the team is turning to technology with video chats and highlight reels to help unite them.
I think there's a trade-off between, the positive and the negative. I think for the Olympic movement, it's very positive that we're going to venues that already exist that make it more sustainable and easier to host.
The last time Italy hosted the Winter Games in Turin 2006, medal ceremonies were held in the center of the city each day, creating a buzz
buzz, adding to the Olympic spirit. Because of the distance, this year, medal ceremonies will be held at the venues following the competitions. Heather Butts, CTV News, Milan.
The Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots are preparing for Super Bowl 60 this Sunday. Drake May, who finished as runner-up for the Most Valuable Player award, practicing here alongside his teammates at the Rose Bowl. He led the Patriots to a 14-3 record, winning their division. Despite the success, the Pats are considered underdogs against the upstart Seahawks, led by Sam Darnold. They haven't lost a game since mid-November. Everyone's favorite scientist, Bill Nye the Science Guy, is getting a special award. David Daniel has that story and more in today's Hollywood Report.
We can work together to inspire people everywhere.
A big honor for Bill Nye. The Emmy-winning science guy will receive a Lifetime Achievement Award at the 4th Annual Children's and Family Emmy Awards. He'll be honored at a ceremony in New York on March 1st.
That's the sound of a woman. Speaks her mind when she's told she shouldn't. So she can when they said she couldn't.
New music from Rita Wilson. Sound of a Woman, which she co-wrote, is the performer's latest single and the title track of Wilson's next album, due out May 1st.
You can time travel?
Time Hoppers, The Silk Road sends 4 gifted kids back to the golden age of Islam to meet Muslim thinkers who changed the world. Its producers call it the first Muslim animated film to get a nationwide U.S. theatrical release. Time Hoppers, The Silk Road opens Saturday. Locations and showtimes at fathomentertainment.com. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Canada lost about 25,000 jobs in January. BNN Bloomberg's Marella Fernandez with more from the latest employment report.
The unemployment rate dropped to 6.5%, and that's because fewer people were looking for work. The manufacturing sector took a major blow in January. It shed 28,000 jobs. So it's no surprise that Ontario had the biggest drop in employment. The education sector lost 24,000 jobs and public administration 10. Alberta had the biggest increase in employment, gaining 20,000 jobs. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is up to 73.23. West Texas Intermediate is up to 63.55. Western Canadian Select is down almost $2 to 48.34. And the TSX recovered 476 points today to end the week at 32,470. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marella Fernandez.
Here are the current prices for some key commodities we watch. Gold up $163.13, closing the day at $49.47.92 US an ounce. Silver up $6.74. Copper up 3 cents and nickel up 11 cents, ending the day at $7.67 US a pound. And we've got one last look at the weather for tomorrow. Let's take a look here. So for Sudbury, Timmins, and Sault Ste. Marie, we've got a mix of sun and cloud, but it is going to be very cold tomorrow, between minus 18 to minus 13 degrees, feeling much colder than that with the wind chill. And heading to the next board, well, it looks like I can't head to the next board, but anyways, it is going to be very cold, so keep that in mind. And so one of the Toronto Zoo's superb owls is predicting who will win the Super Bowl this Sunday. Butters, a great horned owl, is picking the Patriots to beat the Seahawks when the teams hit the field at Levi's Stadium in California. You can see if his prediction will come true by tuning into Super Bowl 60 on CTV, TSN, or stream it on Crave, starting at 6 p.m. on Sunday. And finally for us tonight, a record-breaking 150 dogs from shelters littered across the U.S. and the British Virgin Islands will compete in the 22nd annual Puppy Bowl on Super Bowl Sunday.
Down at the fluff end zone, Oscar is, well, I'm not sure what he's doing. He's pawing
The annual event aims to promote pet adoption, with adoption stories intertwined with a little friendly competition. And new this year will be a special halftime exhibition game featuring 15 senior dogs. Team Oldies versus Team Goldies. I just love that. And that's all the time we have tonight. Angela Gemmell will be in for our 11:30 show, so make sure you tune in. We'll leave you with some more shots from the Walden Winter Carnival from last night. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend. Good night.